Hello, dear engineers and professionals. Welcome to Bentley's webinar on release of India Workspace 2021. In this webinar, we will present the additional features of country-specific kit for India region, like new sheet seeds, which smoothens the drawing production task with many variants to choose from within plan or profile generation. Also, there are new feature definitions, design standards, annotation groups, report formats, corridor templates, ready to use typical cross sections, a brief info about speakers. Myself, Ajitesh Gupta, and my colleague Chetra Holi will be delivering this webinar. I'm postgraduate in transportation engineering and associated with Bentley Systems from last 2 years, providing user support and training for open roads, concept station, and microstation. I hold overall 7 years of professional experience. So, with all our due respect, thank you all for joining this webinar, and we are glad to see you on board as attendees. Now, let us begin with the content of our webinar. So these are the items listed. We have added some new sheet seeds, A0, A1, A2, A3, which you can make use of them for plan generation, or even plan profile generation, whether framed or unframed. There's a new additional centerline feature definition with the name centerline underscore ind underscore std, which you can use for both your plan as well as your profile. So ind stands for India, std is for standard. There are some additional feature definitions for component and payment layers. Already there are many feature definitions present, but we have made sure that as per Indian requirements, Indian highway designs, payment layers such as BC, DBM, WMM, WBM, GSP, so these nomenclatures are already there. So you can just select and assign those feature definitions to payment layers which are made in your template design within OpenRoads Designer. There is a curve table annotation and it is completely dynamic. User can change the fields the as per the project requirements or his or her preferences. And the dynamic text can definitely be linked with the curve table. Sheet borders. Now users can even change the sheet borders because it's simply attached as a reference in the dgnlib library file. In case you have your own title block, so you can just simply replace that reference and it will be reflected in all of your sheets. There have been additional templates for 2-lane, 4-lane, 6-lane, bridge, toll plaza, hill road, and rehabilitation. Then there is a trench template for open channel subsurface utility engineering modeling. Within IndiaKit, there is site visibility tool as per Indian standards for IST, OSD, and SST site distances. Design standards have been updated according to latest ISC code revisions for geometry design. Super elevation rule file works well, and superelevation can be now applied very accurately and precisely as per requirement. There's a curve winding table. There are some new report formats for geometry, terrain, corridor, station offset, and yes, last but not the least, this India Kit workspace is completely compatible with the latest ORD version, which is 10.10.01.03. So this is the ORD interface in which you need to select the correct workspace and workset. After you install IndiaKit, in this drop-down you can see the India Standards workspace will automatically appear. You need to select that. And you can create a new workset event or just select the available workset which is named as IndiaKit 2021. Feature definitions. So we have centerline feature definition with name centerline underscore ind underscore std. IND stands for India, STD is for standard. This is a sample dgen file containing terrain which is attached as a reference in the background, and there is a alignment line comprised of some elements like straight line and some radius, and this is a complex element. Now let us see if we wish to assign feature definitions to the center line, or what are the feature definitions options available for us for the center line alignment. So currently it's somewhat gray in color. That means the feature definition has not been assigned yet. So let us make use of tool set feature definition and check. So if we change the feature type to alignment, and under alignment, let us have a look. So this centerline underscore India underscore STD, which is centerline India standard, so we can assign it directly, and it is available in our drop down. So now as we can see that our centerline has been assigned a feature definition, just hover your mouse over your centerline alignment and you can see the name, the feature alignment, as well as you can select that alignment and just have a look in the properties. So this confirms that my centerline has been assigned the available feature definition in our India Kit Workspace 2021. Now let us have a look on what are the other feature definitions available which we can assign to other elements if we are going to design our templates or any other thing. So they are reflected in our component quantities over here. If we calculate, so same name should be reflected like BC, DBM, WMM, WBM, GSP, subgrade. And in order to get what are the feature definitions available in this workspace, we need to go to home and we can check it out in our Explorer tab. So under the Explorer, you can, if you just open the open row standards and under the libraries, if I just check under feature definitions, because these standards are pulled from dgnlib files which are contained in your workspace, and over here if we check it out in this dgnlib feature annotation level element temp metric, just open that, so we can go to this mesh and you can see there are folders named from 1 2 3 4. So according to user convenience, we have kept their name so that they are reflected on top and it is convenient in selecting them. So under asphalt flexible, you can see the feature names, so feature definition names, BC, CRMB, and you can get many variants to select and assign them in your template. So we have BM, BC, DBM, and if you have two layers, then we have DBM 1, 2, and all types of possible layers which we use in our India standards or Indian practice have been included over here. So the advantage of having these feature definition names in our library or indicate workspace is that for any template design, we can select and assign the same or the required feature definition to any of the components, so they are reflected over here. If you just drop down the feature definition part, and you can see those folders have been organized in the same manner as we have seen in our Explorer. So we have for asphalt flexible, we have for aggregate and soil. So user can simply select them and assign so that they are reflected, their names are reflected exactly same in their quantity reports, component quantity reports, or any other reports. Let us talk about what are the annotation groups added in our Indicate Workspace 2021. The red rectangle enclosed ones are the new ones added, and obviously the old ones are already present. So those who are familiar with the previous India kit release last year in month of June, so they can find the master A1 profile, master A2 with different intervals as well as in color as well as black and white formats. Annotation groups are basically categorized in two subfolders. One is for drawing and one is for linear. Under linear, we have seen that our feature definition was assigned this annotation group. Basically this annotation group of centerline in the standard has been linked with the feature symbology, and ultimately the feature symbology is linked with our centerline feature definition which we have assigned. Also, the annotation groups over here are present for different sheet sizes, like for A0, for A1, for A2, and for A3. Basically, the plan drawing annotation group for four sheet sizes are present, four variants. Basically, the drawing annotation group contains the annotation such as your grid lines, your match lines, as well as your north arrow. So everything is gonna be controlled over from It is drawing annotation groups. And if we talk about plan linear, so then we have already this annotation group with this having the same name as our centerline feature definition, so that there's no uh, scope of confusion. Talking about our profile annotation groups, again, there are two folders, subfolders. One is drawing and one is linear. Linear part will control your vertical profile annotation group, and its name is ind vpi details at curve, which is very simple, and it and all the annotation group elements or naming are as per Indian standards. And this linear vertical profile is very simple, not complicated. However, user can change and make additional changes in the annotation group itself by editing the dgen library file. And if we talk about the profile drawing annotation groups, so basically these annotation groups are different for different sheet sizes in order to make best fitting and basically the best appearances with different offsets, top and bottom clearances, font sizes, text styles. Your framed and non-framed bands, basically the profile bands, are controlled by your drawing annotation groups, which are the additional ones you are highlighted on the under this red box, and the previous ones are also present. So those who are very comfortable with the previous annotation groups can also make use of them. And however, you can try with the new annotation groups which we have created for different sheet sizes. If we move on to the actual drawing and see in the Explorer tab, where are these available? Now let's have a look where are these annotation groups, additional annotation groups, which are a part of India Workspace 2021 are present. So if you go to Explorer window and just open the open those standards and the libraries, you can see under annotation group within this dgen library file, feature annotation level, element template metric. Under this, you are going to find the annotation groups for your plan, profile, and cross sections. So just open plan, you are going to see two subfolders, drawing and linear. If you just open that under drawing, these are the additional highlighted uh, annotation groups which are being recently added to our Indicate workspace. And these annotation groups are linked to your sheet seeds, and they have the best setting for text style, text fonts, clearances, as well as the text heights. So therefore, they are for different sheet seeds, the annotation groups are different. Similarly, if you just you can make use of the older annotation groups as well, which are also present. They have not been removed, so you can make use of master plan grid and master plan grid color. If you just go and scroll linear folder, under this linear annotation group folder within plan, you can see centerline underscore ind underscore std, which is India standard centerline, and also the old ones are also present, master stationing. So you can make use of both of them. So centerline India standard is completely based on Indian standards, having a curve table box and with your respective stationing in kilometer and changes. So once you apply them, suppose I have applied on the feature definition which is linked to your annotation group. So if I want to see and manage it, so I can just simply go to the same folder structure within my active dgen file, linear, and just right click and click on manage. So if you just manage this, you can see a preview window over here, and just zoom in and you can see the stationing as well as your curve table box. So you can add, remove, and make changes to the fields. So you can manipulate a lot of things over here. Now let us see if a user wants to change or manipulate the curve table box entries, then he or she needs to go to this folder path. Make sure you are in the correct ORD version, and then within that ORD versions, there's the organization civil folder, and within that there is the India standards workspace. Within India Standards Workspace, there is a cell folder, and in the cell folder, you are going to find plan annotation in a standard curve table box LHS and for RHS. So these are the two cell files which needs to be opened, and thereafter changes can be made within them. So they contain basically a model in which there is a curve table, and so let us see how we can do that. So this is a curve table present in the form of tabular form. So there is a title on the top, and there are some entries, delta, radius, and transition length, PCPT. So if you want to make changes over here so that your fields are updated automatically and the entries are reflected dynamically as per your plan annotation. So you need to just take element selection and just suppose I want to change the curve at 0, 0. So let's double click that and you can see. So this is my text manipulator, or you can say this text editor. And this is basically your text style. So there's a particular text style linked with it. So that's why it is coming at 0 plus triple 0. So let us right click and click on edit field. So now here you get an option under plan annotation group to select what you wish to display. Currently this is set as curve set PI station, which is a part of plan annotation. And you can just scroll down. So there are annotations present for your linear, point, line, arc, as well as your spiral. So there are a lot many options available, and there is a respective separate tab for your curve set. So you can select your options over here and then just update by clicking OK. You can also see the preview over here. Now let us see what's present in your R. Suppose I need to set the radius. So just double click over that and just right click and select edit field. So this radius is coming from this property curve set arc radius, which is a part of plan annotation. And accordingly, you can make use of these tabs, especially the curve set tab. So there, by selecting these entries and updating them, you can update your curve table. So this was all about how you can open the cell file and make changes, as because this cell file is directly linked in your annotation group, and ultimately your annotation group is linked with your feature definition. So if I'm assigning feature definition of center line alignment, so I'm gonna get the annotation group linked with it center line underscore ind standard, and ultimately this will display the curve table box. And if you make changes in the cell file, the curve table box will automatically update. And to make sure how it is being updated, just right click and click on manage. Once you do annotation, then only you will be able to manage within this dgen file, or else you can open the dgen library file and then manage your annotations. If you just take a preview and just zoom in, so whatever changes you might have made in your cell file are going to be reflected automatically. Suppose you change the delta, so you change these titles, instead of R you write radius, instead of LS you write TS above, and accordingly you make certain changes. So this is going to be linked. And how this is coming, because if I just scroll down, and you can see there is a parameter assigned curve label LT India 2. So if you just select that, and you can see which cell I have linked. So basically this is the cell, and this is the model name which I have selected, and the text favorite is this. So you can make use of both the cells as well as your text favorite. So most important is your cell. You don't forget to select the correct model name from this drop down, because unless you do, and this drop down will contain your model name only and only when you are going to place your cell file in the correct folder location. So this was all about how you can make changes in your centerline alignment annotations. Similarly, you can make use and check the other annotation groups available by taking a preview in the manage section. Suppose I want to see how my plan will appear in the sheets. So just click on drawing, and if I just select one of them, like suppose A1, right click and click on properties, and over here you select queries. So you get a window where you can get the actual look and feel under inside your preview window. Just take a fit view. So these are the grid lines. These grid lines will be present, and your alignment is going to run like this. Basically, it's a preview, so don't worry about that's going to in a 45-degree. However, in actual, in your drawing, it's going to come straight. So this is just an idea like what are the things present. So if you just look over here, there are only the two elements. One is plan grid annotation and one is a north arrow. Suppose you do not want north arrow, just click over that and just press this delete icon, red cross. And you want to make changes in your plan grid annotation. So there are several properties. Just uh, make sure you are making changes, and you can see even in the preview. So if you can see, there is easting label properties, then there is a northing y label properties, so you get the easting and northing as well. Suppose you do not want these grid lines, so just simply skip them and draw, just change from draw from true to false. And similarly for your easting, change the draw parameter from true to false. So these grid lines will be removed and you are going to get just your plan annotation, basically the center line alignment annotation and not the grid lines. However, if you keep north arrow, then north arrow will definitely be present. So this was all about your plan drawing annotation groups, and similarly for A0, A2 and A3 as well. This is the previous annotation group present in your previous India workspace, master plan grid and master plan grid color. Now let's have a look on your profile annotations. So again, we are having two folders, drawing and linear. First, let us check the linear. So inside the linear, the India VPI details at curve. So basically, uh, you can just manage it and see what are the things you are going to get if you annotate your vertical profile using this. So we get a clear picture, or we can say we get a basic idea like how what are the things are going to be annotated. So we are going to get VPI curve details, the gradient slopes, and similarly, if I just check the other one, so this is the master profile linear, just right click and manage. It's under varies. So this might be linked with your centerline uh, alignment feature definition. So if it's just take a preview of it or fit view. So this is basically this one is the most simplified version of your profile annotation or vertical profile annotation, vertical alignment annotation basically. So this annotation group, which is master profile linear, is linked to your centerline. And how to get confirmed? If I just open, like I need to see with my feature definition centerline India underscore STD, what are the plan as well as your profile annotation groups linked? I need to go back to my feature definitions and just open this feature definition, which is present under alignment, and simply have a look over here. These fields are grayed out. That means you cannot make changes over here unless you open this dgen library file, which is mentioned over here. Features underscore annotation level element template metric dot dgnlib. So we just want to have a look like which are the plan and profile annotation group link with my feature definition. So under alignment, you can see the profile feature symbology is this and the linear feature symbology is this. That means the feature definition is calling two of the feature symbologies. That means under feature symbologies with these names, my annotation groups must be linked. So I need to check two feature symbologies. For plan, I need to check centerline underscore India standard. And for profile, I need to check this feature symbology. So let's go back to feature symbology and check what are the annotation groups linked. So just open this, and again need to go to the correct dgen library file, and under linear, if I see, so this is my plan feature symbology. So over here you can see the plan annotation group is linked this, and suppose I wish to see for my profile, then I would select this under profile alignment. So this was my profile alignment. So master center line profile and the annotation group linked is master profile linear, which we were seeing just before of it. So this was our master profile linear. So this annotation group is directly linked to your center line alignment. And if I assign the feature definition in my vertical alignment, so it will pick up master profile linear as the annotation group. Basically, under one feature definition, I have linked both the plan as well as the profile annotation group. That's why whenever we run the annotate element command, so we can annotate both of them. Now let us see what are the design standards available and the updates in the design standards. So we have included all the latest design standards in our India Kit Workspace 2021. So if you can see in the design standards toolbar, you will be able to find the latest IRC codes as well under horizontal as well as for your vertical. So this is the dgen library file, India Road Congress within brackets irc.dgnlib, and within this dgen library file, we have updated all the design standards. You can see over here 2015, 2018 for IRC SP73, which is two laning manual, and similarly for your four laning, six laning, there are the latest codes available both for your mountainous and steep terrain as well as a plain and rolling terrain. You can see over here under geometry tab under standards, design standards toolbar, just drop down and you can see over here, just move a bit below. So you can see the latest versions for like SSP73, 2015, 2018 and 19. So this confirms that it is pulling the correct standards from your India Kit Workspace 2021. Now let us see how does the super elevation applied, which has been applied, is behaving. We are going to take up the dynamic cross-section view, open cross-section view, and it's asking me to locate corridor alignment. I'm going to select my corridor, and this is my view where I will be looking my super elevation cross sections. And so the pointer is over here at 000. I will be gradually moving the stations and in order to check whether what kind of super elevation is applied at a larger radius. So if you can see, I am just zooming in it, and at the larger radius there is no super elevation applied. As I move ahead, I'm a bit sure that at the smaller radius the typical cross section should rotate accordingly. I'm about to reach over here, and yes, it's rotating about its center. So this confirms that my super elevation has been successfully applied, and keeping the considerations of larger radiuses and as well as the smaller radius. For our users' ease and convenience, there is a document on India Workspace for Open Road Designer, which we'll be sharing in this webinar itself. So you can refer this document for what are the changes and what are the features of India Kit Workspace 2021. Now I would like to request my colleague Chetra to explain the additional features added to our India Kit Workspace. So over to you, Chetra.
Hello everyone. Before we continue with the more on India Workspace 2021 release, let me introduce myself. My name is Chaitra and I've been working with Bentley as a consultant for civil user success team for almost 2 years. In Bentley, I am responsible for technical and the sales support for Open Roads Designer and Open Rails Designer for India region and project services for the US DOTs. Earlier to joining Bentley, I have total of 6 years of highway design experience on India as well as the UK projects. So this was a quick intro about myself. So let us now continue with the more about on what we have got for the India Workspace release 2021. So let's start with the templates. Before we start up with the templates on the 2021 release, we had also released certain number of templates in release 2020, which were basically the as per the Indian standards or the undivided divided highways, the hill road sections, road templates were being um, released in 2020. Many of you might be using in your projects. The people who are still not aware of the templates which are the part of release 2020 can check in for this link which contains all the templates, the number of templates being the part of release 2020. So in addition to these templates of release 2020, for this year's release we have the bridge templates which contains the unicamber as well as the bicamber bridge templates. Then we have the toll plaza templates, the hill road templates, which has been made an enhancement from the release 2020, and we have certain trench components which we could leverage. So let's see uh, in Open Roads 1010 how we could make use of these templates in India Workspace. Okay, let us now see what all are the templates that have been the part of the India Workspace 2021. So before we directly go into the template library, um, I'm into my India Standards Workspace, which is the new release that I'm using currently using now. And many of you know how to get into the template libraries. That is under the Open Roads Modeling Workflow corridor. You have the template create template, which will directly take you to the templates, a separate window which opens the template library. So here I'm in my separate window where you could see these components which were already the part of the release 2020 up till 01 India. So 01 India folder contains all the templates that were being part of the release 2020. So whatever the new templates that are being added in release 2021 are under the 02 India folder over here. So if I drop down over here, so there are two other folders which contains the India components and the India templates. So these components which have been created are being taken into consideration in order to create those templates. So under the India templates, I have the three folders. That is, I said that we have a bridge templates, we have a hill road templates, and the toll plaza templates. So under the bridge templates, if I go under the bicamber bridge, we have one with the bicamber divided ramp section, viaduct section, and one with the LHS and the RHS, and one we have with the undivided ramp portion. So coming to the unicamber, we have in a similar way for the ramp, viaduct, and separate LHS and the RHS bridge over here. So now opening any one bridge. So when I double click on any of the template file, that will open me in a preview onto my right side window. So this is the one where which can be used placing your bridge portion at the ramp section. Then one is being created for your viaduct portion and one to separate bridge portion. One is for your LHS and the RHS. And one is the undivided bridge portion. So each templates are being created as a prototype templates, which you could make use of either parametric constraints or the constraints within the components or or the components itself to create or update your existing templates. Like uh, let us say, let us take an example of the ramp section portion of a divided bicamber. And if I go to the active templates, so this will provide me all the details, whether the points, components, if any parametric constraints or display rules, anything that has been added to this particular templates. So all details will be shown over here where you could come over here and review or update the things as per your project requirement. So right now, I could simply go to the parametric constraint. It will show me all the list of the parametric constraint that have been added to this template. Uh, and let us change the median width. The moment when I click, if your median width of as per your project requirement, the moment when I double click on that, it shows right now on an RHS it is 1.95, and if you want to make any changes, it should have not been 1.9, it should have been 2.5. The moment when I click, it updates on both the sides over here. So it is that quick uh, to update your as per your project requirement when all the other parameters are similar that you could directly use for your project. In the other similarly, like if you want to even increase the lane, let's say I want to reduce my lane width, I can quickly update the lane width and that will update me on my both the sides. So you could make leverage of these parametric constraints which are already been created as a part of this template to upgrade with respect to your project requirement. So coming back over here, so before applying that to a corridor, we usually test it, how it works. So you also have that test button over here, and you could simply test by considering a prototype of existing earthwork slope. The moment when I click, you see the bottom portion is simply moving with respect to your ground profile. So because the constraint, now the point constraints are added to the bottom points in such a way that we are saying it to follow the earth profile rather than giving it a specific height over here. So you could make use of those parametric constraints or constraint point constraints itself or any components that have been added to make respective changes as per your requirement. In a similar terms, we do have for the unicamber, which works on the same principle. So let us now go for the viaduct portion. We went for the here it is a simple rectangular bridge deck portion which is being considered. And if your project says that it should be a trapezoidal bridge deck portion, I could simply come over here and give the change the value, and I could simply change it to the trapezoidal section. So it is that easy to make use of those parametric constraints which are the part of the template as per your requirement. Then this was about the bridge templates. Then we have in the hill roads. Hill roads were already a part of earlier release. What is that enhancement that we have made this time is that we have added the display tools. So there could be a chance that there could be a hillside on your LHS and valley side on your RHS, and at a certain distance it could be vice versa. So rather than applying certain interval, uh, the LHS separate and then again applying a different template. So we uh, here we created a display rules in such a way that both the templates are in a single template file, and the rules have been applied in such a way that based on whatever your existing ground that might be coming, the height, the rules, the way it is, the rules have been created. Depending on that, the relevant template will be applied along your corridor. So if I just go and test it over here. So right now it shows me one template based on the rule which I have applied. Now let's say we'll take a steeper slope of 10%. That means onto my right side I have a hill region, onto my left side I have a valley region. So that's where you see the other template is being shown rather than the earlier templates. So in this way, rather than assigning two different templates at a different intervals, make use of one template and based on your existing ground profile, how it is moving. Now, if I now change it to the other way, it will show me the the hillside, because the higher side of my ground is onto my LHS, and LRHS is having the valley portion. So that's why this template is been will be assigned to the corridor. So this was about the hill roads. So then we have the toll plaza templates where we have created for the 3 lanes as well as for the 5 lanes, which contains different types. One is that projected to the surface, and one which is following certain subgrade height. So one with the projected with the surface is having where the bottom points are all having a constraint where it is following the existing ground levels, so that whatever might be the height, I'm just going to fill the subgrade, and upon that my new levels are going to be built. So in this way you also have the parametric constraint. If you see over here, like in this case buffer strip, if you want to change the width of your buffer strip, not just 2.5 meters, you may want to increase it, and that will get updated on both the sides. So you could make use of this. So we have this cut slope values, the fast track slope, the existing the payment slope that you may want to provide. In a similar way, we have the widths. You could change, you could make use of the available parametric constraints over here. The one with the subgrade particular height, a particular height is being given to the subgrade, which you could make changes according to your project requirement over here. So this is one with the 5 lanes, and one with the following the existing ground profile, one with the having a certain subgrade depth over here. So this was all about the templates. So now coming ahead to the components, whatever you see, the components have been used. These are the part of the templates which have been considered while creating those templates. In the similar terms, the bridge portions, just the lane portion, the structure camber, just creating those ramp portions are all been kept under the components, which you could leverage in order to create your own bridge components or any other templates that you may want to use for your project requirement. So apart from this, for the open channel drain subsurface utility engineering modeling, in which we want a varying height of the drain such that it is snapping to the ground, and there are the trench components which have been added with the different spans over here that you will find under the India components. The trench over here with the varying with 1200 span, 1500, you could make use of the as per the requirement. Just if you go under the test, and if I give that as a test, so wherever your existing ground will meet, so your height of the drain is increasing as per the requirement. So here we have the varying height with fixed span over here, which you could make use of when when assigning the utilities for your roads. So this was all about the new components as well as the templates being the part of India Workspace 2021. So let us now just assign any of the templates and check how it is behaving. So I'll just close. So the moment when I close this, it is asking me to save the file. That is why, because uh, when we were making use of certain parametric constraints, we were changing or updating the values. So if you have made changes as per your project requirement, make sure that you save this file before you exit, or none of the values updated will be saved. So right now I'm not in a requirement to save any of the values over here. I'm just moving ahead with whatever prototype values I have created over here. I'll just say no. That will close off my template library. So now quickly we shall see how let us assign the bridge template, one with the ramp portion and one with the viaduct portion. And let's see when we assign how it looks in our 3D view. Okay, let me go ahead and create a corridor and then assign a template. Just click on the corridor, reset for this, and hold down and go over under the India templates. Let us assign a ramp portion over here, and I'll just assign to the certain length of road and give a drop interval. Okay, now over here, and in the 3D view, if I just zoom in, so although it is not visible, so let's go and change the profile to understand that how it is behaving. So I'll just quickly open my profile view. Yes, over here we have the two different profiles uh, available. So right now this profile is being active. I'll just take it to the side and let me assign and just activate this as my profile. The moment when I apply this, you should be able to see how the ramp portion, how it is getting applied. So right now, if you see, it is earth fill portion in the center, and I have added the concrete feature definition over the sides, so which you could make use of. You can simply come over here and change the chainage to decrease the ramp length. Yes. And there you see it is acting with respect to wherever it is finding, it is tapping to your existing ground. So moving ahead, and let's also create one of the viaduct portion. I'll just create a new template drop, and gonna pick up the corridor over here, and now I shall choose it as a viaduct portion and give it a hint. And I'll just assign it at a certain distance rather than providing starting it from the end of the earlier template, so as to show you the difference. And there you see a viaduct portion which has a certain deck height is being provided, a ramp portion which is following the ground profile, and this is following certain height that is being given based on the parametric constraints being added to this deck height, which you could make changes as per your project requirement. So this was all about the templates that are being the part of the new India Workspace release 2021. So moving ahead for the uh, next next one, that is on the sheet seats. In our last release, we had many sheet seats as a part of India Workspace 2020. So for those videos, if you want to watch, we have the link over as a part of the PDF. And for the new release, we have added the new sheets, that is the title blocks, as per the Indian Standard Organization ISO A0 to A3 sheets, so which you could make the benefit in order to generate your sheet drawings. So apart from the title block, we have also created the additional drawing sheets in addition to the India release 2020. where we are taken into considering into the project India project scenario, where we usually generate either 500-meter length of road or 1000-meter length of road per sheet. So based on those, we have created those plan only sheets, plan, profile only, plan profile sheets. And based on this, the detail scales and other inputs have been arrived considering those length of the road over here. For the sheets generation, in the present DGN file, we have an alignment along with the corridor with a certain template being assigned and a super elevation being added to this. And along with this, we also see a existing terrain fence, or it could be any other line. Let's say for an example, let's consider this could be an existing ROW line where you may also want to generate the existing ground levels to be the part of your profile binds when you generate your sheet drawings. If I just show these levels, so this has been created at an offset of 30 meters with respect to your center line. So we have the parameters. The corridor has been created, a super elevation has been assigned. We have one uh, existing line which is at a certain distance, 30 meters distance with respect to your central line, and this central line is being assigned with the existing ground levels by simply making use of the um, profile from the surface and the existing whatever the existing ground levels at this line following at this lines have been assigned, and then this line is being projected onto my profile window, making use of this project profile to the element. So that's where you see right now I have my existing ground. One is my uh, profile project, that is my existing terrain fence line, and one is my center line levels. So in order to access the the drawing sheets of the this release, uh, by going into Open Roads modeling workflow under the drawing production, you have this name boundary tool over here. So the moment when I click, so that opens me up a dialog box where in order to create any either plan only sheets or plan or plan profile only a plan sheet to be generated. So we make use of this civil plan dialog inputs, and for the profile we make use of this where we generate either just a profile or a plan profile. So we make use of this civil profile inputs. So when I come to this civil plan, so under this drawing sheets, you have by default of Open Doors Designers the A1 size plan and plan sheets, and then anything with the prefix with ISO A0 plan, anything in the name of prefix ISO are the release 2021 sheets that you'll be making use of. So like said, ISO is the Indian standard organization, the measurements based on those. The A0 is your sheet size, what you are using. Plan stands for just the plan will be generated in that sheet drawing, and 500 or 1000 refers to the length of the road that will be generated per sheet over here. So we have each sheet size is having a two different variants. One is for your 500 meters and other is for 1000 meters. So based on that, you could what kind of sheets you want to generate, you could make use of those, uh, pick those and generate. So these many are your new India Workspace release, 2021 release sheets is. Apart from this, we also have those existing last year sheets release been kept as it is, uh, so that you could continue using these sheets too. So now coming under the profile, we also have this A1 profile. So these are the standard profiles which are the part of the Open Doors designers. So anything apart from this with anything prefix with the sheet size and the length of the roads are the new workspace release profile sheets. And we also have the one with the master, which are your last year release India Workspace sheets. So now we have so many each side sheets. Is the moment we pick up any of the sheets, you see the inputs been already been set. Like if I just choose any other thing, the inputs get changed. So basically, these inputs, like I've said it earlier, these inputs have been arrived at by the clip boundary size to fit in that sheet size that you are picking up. So it is usually not advisable to change the detail scale and the length of the road or the left and right offset unless uh, necessary. It's like I would suggest not to make any changes, especially for the detail scale and your length of the road. Although you're flexible to make changes to your overlap or the boundary chords depending upon the requirement. So let us generate a simple plan profile for, let's say, for A0 for 1,000 meter length of a road per sheet. So in this drop down, let us pick one with the ISO 0 plan profile with the 1,000 meters, which is a plan. I'm going to generate a plan over here. So I shall just pick up this plan, and it will pick me up the scale that has been arrived, the length and rest. I'm not going to make changes to those. I'll just pick this alignment, and you could change the name, and let me just make mild changes to the boundary chord. As I said that I have a flexible to change these values. So the moment when I change, I just accept it to create those clip boundaries, as I have created a clip boundaries. So I have created a plan clip boundaries. In a similar way, let's go and head and create the profile. So I need to pick up one with the A0 1,000 meters, the profile one. So then in a similar way, like for the plan, inputs are being arrived at, so are the profile uh, inputs are also being arrived at based on the clip boundary size that needs to be fit in that particular sheet size. Although you still have that flexibility to change this profile, the top clearance, bottom clearance, spacing, and daytime spacing, you could make use of. So you guys are already using the drawing production, and you also know about the fact about the generation of either by station limits or the from the plan group. Since we are going to generate the plan profile sheets in a single sheet size such that it should follow whatever might be the length of the uh, plan road itself, the same profile should come below. So I choose from the plan group. Over here you do get the options depending upon how many plan name boundaries you might have created. Since I have created only one, it just gives me the name of that plan name boundaries. And the moment when I come and pick up, so it will directly create those many number of ports over here with respect to your plan name boundaries, and I simply accept it. You could have an option of creating the drawing checkbox to move ahead with the next option, or else if you have by missed unchecked the create drawing, you still have that ability to come to the name boundary manager over here, and you see the drop down of depending on the name boundaries what you have created. So under the plan groups, you have the name of that plan group, and since we created from the plan group to the profile name boundaries, so you see that it has been linked to this plan group. I can simply go ahead and right click and generate the drawing sheets. So over here you see the annotation groups of both plan. Onto my left is the plan inputs, and onto my right side is the profile inputs. So annotation groups of this are being assigned while creating this those respective drawing sheets. So these annotations are the part of this new India Workspace release 2021. So although you have these drop downs to pick up different uh, annotation groups that you may want to generate for that particular project. Also, you have that flexibility once after being creating your sheet drawings also, you can change your annotation groups. So right now I'm not going to make any particular changes. So I'm just I find it perfectly fine to move ahead, and I'll hit OK. So now, based on the annotation group that is being assigned over here, since my annotation group, the profile band also contains a superelevation left and right over here, and also I had created a fence line at a distance of 30 meters, whose existing ground level should be also the part of profile bands. So I just need to pick them up, relevant target elements, in order to generate them as a part of my profile bands. And there you go. Uh, it generates you both plan and profile, and also the EGL at 20 meters. This is nothing but the one which we picked at the distance where at a 30-meter distance of fence lines, which was having the existing ground levels, which was been a part of your profile view also. So based on that, it picked up and added me those existing ground levels at any distance meters. So, and also we have the super elevation being given. A super elevation diagram you could see over here being added. Okay. Okay, once these have been generated, now, like I said, that we also had a title block. That's where you have seen the title blocks over here, which is a reference file, which is an enhancement from the earlier release, which was a cell file, which we couldn't have been edited. So now we could either change the title block based on the requirement of your organization. You could either attach your reference of your sheet size that your organization might be using, or else you could continue with the same uh, reference title block sheets, and if you want to make any particular changes to this. So right now, if I double click, it says me element log because it is a reference element. If I want to make anything edits to this, let's say I can just go and activate this. So without having been going back and opening that reference file as a separate DGN, it will just activate me and gray out the other things. That means I'm right now activated this reference files, and I could simply double click now and make changes and give this as an XYZ company, let's say. The moment I give, that gets applied, and now I'll lock this back, and I'm back into my present DGN, and that is being updated without having been going to the different DGN file updating and then rather than again re-referencing it. So now if you see any of the sheets, those have been directly getting updated. So it is that simple, even to update any data that you may want to enter with the revisions that you have made, just by adding the text over here, or just going and activating that reference file and just creating, just updating your text files over here. Can simply go back again and give that again as yes. It is that simple. Now to use your both the title block as a reference DGN file, and also generating the 1000 meters length of road or the 500 meters length of road in any of these sheet size over here. This was all about regarding the different uh, drawing sheets that are available part of the India Workspace 2021. So moving ahead, the next one we have the reports. By default, we have lot many varieties of reports which are the part of the Open Roads Designer. So apart from this for this 2021 release, we have the new report formats that are being added, which you can leverage off. Okay. Over here in this DGN file, I have my plan view over here, which contains two different templates being assigned over here. And let us now look into where exactly we can view these reports formats and how we could choose a different format accordingly. So the very first one, let's say that we may want to view the horizontal report. So the one thing that we make use of the context menu by selecting the alignment plan and clicking on the horizontal geometric reports. So by default, it will directly take you to the available civil terrain or the geometrics with respect to whatever type of report that you have chosen. So by default, these will be open. So over here onto the top four, where you have the suffix with respect to the name of India. So these are the new additions of the report types. So like now we have clicked on the horizontal reports. Over here we under the geometric reports we have the different types of alignment reports over here we could make use of. Let's say for example a type of horizontal reports. So this type 1 horizontal report will give you the chainage, the easting, northing bearing and the length as well as the radius details. So this type 2 type of horizontal alignment will give you the both each element type details in a text format rather than in the tabular format. Then we have this type 3 where which gives only the details about the spiral and the curve details of that alignment chosen. Then we have this type 4 or horizontal alignment type which provides you in a chainage easting northing element the length which is almost similar to the type 1 where we have also have the element type being also been given over here along with the radius details. Depending on which side of the road or the LHS or the RHS road, we do have the value specified, which will be useful. In a similar terms, the type fifth has an addition offset, the spiral offset. What is the distance is been added over here. Then we have the set out point control at regular intervals, which gives the easting northing details as well as the FRL's levels along that alignment. This type of report format is also available. So you could make the new types of the horizontal reports being added over here depending upon your requirement or your organization requirement or your client requirement. You could simply pick up the one which you want and then you have the options to save as that as an XML, HTML, doc and XLS file. Since this alignment also has the profile details, without having to go back and going into the profile view and then going for the vertical report, you can still leverage over here directly by clicking on the vertical alignment type. So which will provide you the type of the element, whether it is a tangent element and then whether it is what type of a curve, a crest vertical curve or the sag vertical curve. So those details are being added into the new report formats, which gives you the stations at the start station and also the end station along with the levels and also the VIP details with the levels at that points. And we also have this K values, the length of the element type that is being selected. Those all details in and out of the grade details also been provided. So you could also make use of this. Then we have this average vertical grade point report. So this was about the geometric report. Moving ahead for the generating of the corridor report. So in order to generate the corridor report, either select the corridor and move the mouse. You get the different report types over here, the components, properties, or the design input, or the result reports, anything. So if I click on the design input report, by default it chooses over here. You can also change your default type uh, by right clicking on whatever and set that as your particular whenever you open those design input corridor design. So next time whenever you try to create a report, generate a report from the corridor design report, so it will open you this report XSL file rather than the one from the default which are already been part of the open source. So now over here when I select this design report, so what this will give, like I said, that there are two templates being assigned to the corridor. So that's the details that it is giving me. What are those two templates and what is the drop interval from what change to what change? These are being assigned. So those details have been given. So if any transition between the two templates are also being given, provided those transition details will also be seen. So as we have not provided any transition, neither there are secondary alignments. So rest of the things are nil. So any corridor objects that might have added either the key stations or the point controls, aliasing, whatever. So those details will be all be seen over here when you click on the design input reports. Similarly, if I click on the results report, so earlier that design input report was giving me in a summarized way of what is the templates through what being added. Over here it is giving me at every intervals that is being generated, what is that template drops are being added or any horizontal offset and the vertical offsets that are being added over here. So right now if you see I have two templates. So exactly at after this change I have my new templates being added and rest other things are also been. So even over here, so it will provide me at a regular intervals that has been generated the template which has been assigned at what intervals. So those based on those intervals all the details will be provided over here. So anything in detail you could simply go for the results report. If you want a summary of the corridor report you could simply choose the design input report over here. Then we also have this corridor component reports which will give me the summary of the reports, and if I want anything in details I can now come over here to the corridor modeling and click on the volumes. So depending upon what kind of or template that is been assigned, whether it is having a cut fill slopes, so those all details based at the regular intervals, so you would be getting the cut volume and the fill volume, and you'll also get the overall total cut and fill volumes. So those all details have been added over here. So you could make use of this. So apart from this, we also have the station-based reports. If you want to know a particular alignment that might be at a certain offset with respect to your target element, or let's say with respect to your central line alignment, and you may also want to know the secondary alignment offset elements change or the reduced levels, so that can be also done by if I choose the station offset reports, let's say. So I'll just pick up my reference. Let's say one is with respect to my edge of the payment right and one is with respect to my edge of the payment left. I have my two elements and I'll just accept that. And under the station offset, if I click on this, so I'll get the baseline that is my center line station, and the offset station changes over here. And then I'll get my reduced levels or the levels that are being on my main line, and also I shall get the levels of my offset reduced line. So this report would be helpful in if you want to know the offsetted alignment reduced levels, or at what offset that the secondary alignment or the offsetted alignment is at with respect to your central lines. So you could make use of the station base report, where you are getting both this offset alignment stations as well as those reduced levels, along with the offset details. And you also do have those crossfall details and the offset which element that you're picking up. So those details are also being added over here. So these are in the tabular format. In a similar terms, in a form of a text format, you also have this control chainage, that is your center line chainage, and with the alignment, that is the offset alignment name. Over here it is giving you in terms of easting, northing with respect to your baseline, and you also have the elevations of those. You do also have it as a separate as left and right offset, where you have a simple just the chainages over here and just the offset. So apart from this, uh, let's say you might be having certain existing point features. Those point features, like in this case, if you notice over here, um, I have existing, let's say, spot elevation. There are certain spot elevation whose elevation that point could be also having the elevation, and I also want to know at what distance with respect to my central line and the elevation it is with respect to my central line. All those details, if I also want to extract them, I also have those option. And over here, let's say this is borehole location levels. So I have certain 4 points which are the existing features, which I want to extract those levels and certain what at what distance with respect to my central lines. I could simply go to the reports, point features, and I pick up with respect to my baseline. Your baseline could be anything with respect to what you want to check the distances of those existing features. And I shall pick up this as my first point, second point, third point, fourth point. Now when I come over here, so it will give me my chainages with respect to the baseline chainage. It will give me the point name. So whatever the name that is being entered to that point name, that will show. So over here, like I said, that it is an existing spot elevation level one, like, and this is a borehole level. And what is a description? Existing spot level. So depending on what is the feature definition that you might have picked, those will come, and it will provide you the easting, northing of those point, and what is the elevations of those existing point features. So even this can be extracted. If you want to generate the existing point features with respect to a particular reference line, even that can be done over here. And yes, that was all about the new port formats that are being added as a part of India Workspace 2021. Thank you.